Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for coming to this presentation. I'm glad to see you all. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Kurnia Lezi Ananda. I am a moderator. Now, I will introduce our speaker. Speaker 1 is Adifa Ayodhya Prameswari. Speaker 2 is Mega Sylvia Herini. Speaker 3 is Jingga Febriona Mauta. We are from Group 5. In this presentation, we will discuss about past continuous tense. Okay. First material will be presented by Adifa Ayodhya Prameswari. To Adifa, time of yours.
Okay, I'm Adifa Ayodhya Prameswari as speaker 1. I will explain about past continuous tense. The past continuous, also called past progressive, is a verb tense which is used to show that an ongoing past action was happening at a specific moment of interruption, or that two ongoing actions were happening at the same time. The structure of sentence. The main verb is present participle. The first form of verb plus ing. For the example is sleeping and going. Auxiliary we use is was or were. The note, if the subject of the sentence is I, she, he, or a singular noun, the auxiliary was is used. And if the subject of sentence is you, they, or a plural noun, the auxiliary is were will be used. Positive sentence. Subject plus auxiliary verb plus main verb plus object, or subject plus was or were plus present participle or verb plus ing plus object. For the examples, 1. He was waiting for you. 2. She was writing a letter. 3. The dog was barking at them. 4. You were smiling to see me. 5. I was watching TV. Negative sentence. Subject plus auxiliary verb plus not plus main verb plus object, or subject plus was or were plus not plus present participle or verb plus ing plus object. For the examples, 1. I was not walking alone. 2. You are not driving careful. 3. She was not decorating her room. 4. He was not sleeping at his bed. 5. They were not discussing my birthday party. Interrogative sentence. Auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb plus object plus question mark, or was or were plus subject plus present participle plus object plus question mark. For the examples, 1. Were you asking me something? 2. Were they going to the college? 3. Was I answering the question correctly? 4. Was he listening to you? And 5. Were there people shouting at him? Thank you. That's all I can explain to you about past continuous tense.
you, Adifa. The next material will be presented by Mega Saherini. To Mega, time of yours.
Okay, I'm Mega Sofia Herini. I will explain about past continuous uses. For use 1, interrupted action in the past. Use the past continuous to indicate that a longer action in the past was interrupted. The interruption is usually a shorter action in the simple past. Remember, this can be a real interruption or just an interruption in time. For examples number 1, I was watching TV when she called. Number 2, when the phone rang, she was writing a letter. Number 3, while John was sleeping last night, someone stole his car. For use 2, specific time as an interruption. In use 1, describe the past continuous is interrupted by a shorter action in the simple past. However, you can also use a specific time as an interruption. For examples number 1, last night at 6 p.m., I was eating dinner. Number 2, at midnight, we were still driving through the desert. And number 3, yesterday at this time, I was sitting at my desk at work. Not in use 2. In the simple past, a specific time is used to show when an action began or finished. In the past continuous, a specific time only interrupts the action. For example, uh, last night at 6 p.m., I ate dinner. That in the simple past. And in the past continuous, I start eating at 6 p.m. The next, last night at 6 p.m., I was eating dinner. Uh, that in the simple past, and I start earlier, and at 6 p.m., I was in the process of eating dinner. That in the past continuous. Use 3. Parallel actions. When you use the past continuous with two actions in the same sentence, it expresses the idea that both actions were happening at the same time. The actions are parallel. For examples number 1, I was studying while he was making dinner. Number 2, while Ellen was reading, Tim was watching television. Number, number 3, they were eating dinner, discussing their plans, and having a good time. Use for atmosphere. In English, we often use a series of parallel actions to describe the atmosphere at the particular time in the past. For example, when I walked into the office, several people were busily typing. Some were talking on the phones. The boss was yelling direction, and customers were waiting to be helped. One customer was yelling at a secretary and waving his hand. Others were complaining to each other about the bad service. Use 5. Repetition and irritation with always. The past continues with words such as always or constantly expresses the idea that something irritating or shocking often happened in the past. The concept is very similar to the expression used to to, but with negative emotion. Remember to put the word always or constantly between be and verb plus ing. For examples number one, she was always coming to class late. Number two, he was constantly talking. He annoyed everyone. Number three, I didn't like them because they were always complaining. Okay, that's all for me. Back to moderator.
Thanks to Mega. Okay, the next material will be presented by Jingga Febriona Mauta. Today is all time of yours. Past continuous tense. While versus when, clauses are groups of words which have meaning, but are often not complete sentences. Some clauses begin with the word when, such, such as when she called or when it beat me. Other clauses begin with while, such as while she was sleeping and while he was surfing. When when you talk about things in the past, when is most often followed by the verb tense simple past, whereas, whereas while is usually followed by past continuous. While experiences the idea of during that time. Study the example below. They have similar meanings, but they emphasize different part of the sentence. For example number one, I was studying when she called. Two, while I was studying, she called. Remember non-continuous verbs or mixed verbs. It is important to remember that non-continuous verb cannot be used in any continuous tenses. Also, certain non-continuous meanings for mixed verbs cannot be used in continuous tenses. Instead of using past continuous with these verbs, you must use simple past. For example, number one, Jen was being at my house when you arrived. Not correct. Next, Jen was at my house when you arrived. Correct. Adverb placement. The example below show the placement for grammar adverbs such as always, only, never, ever, still, just, etc. For example, number one, you were just studying when she called. Two, were you just studying when she called? That's all for me. Back to moderator. Thanks to Inga. Based on the material presented by speakers 1 until 3, it can be concluded that 1. Past continuous tense is a verb tense which to show that an ongoing past action was done at a specific moment of interruption, or the ongoing action were happening at the same time. 2. Formula of past continuous tense. For positive sentence is subject plus where plus verb ing plus object. For negative sentence is subject was or were plus not plus verb ing object. For interrogative sentence is was or were subject plus verb ing plus object plus mark. 3. Past use. Use 1. Interrupted action in the past. Used to specific time as an interruption. G. Parallel action. Use for atmosphere. Use 5. Irritation and irritation with always. That's conclusion our presentation. Finally, we come to the end part of the presentation. That's all about our presentation. The presentation will be beneficial for you all. Thank you for your attention. Sorry for our mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.